In the language of wisdom and knowledge there is a truth whispered across centuries, a phrase only some have comprehended. Wahdat al-Wujūd, the unity of being. In its purest sense, it does not mean that creation is God, but rather that nothing exists in and of itself without God. All that appears to be independent is utterly dependent upon the one necessary being. There is only one reality, one source, one presence sustaining every atom, every heartbeat, every star. This is not merely a Sufi insight. It is at its core the foundation of every divinely revealed faith. Yet over time, the human lens of perception became cracked by language, culture and ego, and the image of this oneness became blurred or distorted. In the time of Jesus, he spoke of his unity with the Father, saying, "I and the Father are one. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father." Not in the sense of identity of personhood, but in perfect alignment of will and essence of purpose. Yet the Jewish authorities, bound to a strictly external reading, mistook his words to mean that he was claiming to be God himself. This misunderstanding became the spark for accusations of blasphemy and heresy, even sentencing him to be unalived. Christians then took Christ's enlightenment and realization of Wahdat al-Wujūd, the oneness of being, and believed he was actually the one true God. They saw the mirror but thought it was the sun, not understanding that he was reflecting the light, not generating it. In the Indian subcontinent, the same primordial truth echoed in the mystical strands of Hinduism. Ancient sages and prophets revealed the interconnectedness of all that exists, the unity behind diversity, the oneness of God, and expressed it in the concept of Brahman. Yet over millennia, this vision splintered into a vast pantheon, with countless deities representing aspects of the one. The unity was obscured by the multiplicity, and pantheism took the place of pure monotheistic oneness. In much the same way, the Greeks, through their philosophers and poets, sensed that behind the cosmos there must be a singular ordering principle, the logos, the nous. Yet their cultural expression ended up clothing this principle in these human-like gods, each with their own competing domains and personalities, which blurred the pure unity into a mythology of many. We can see this pattern repeated over and over from Rome to Egypt, every corner of the world. Even within Islam, where Tawheed, the oneness of God, is the absolute bedrock of creed, the deeper mystical articulation of Wahdat al-Wujūd has often been met with suspicion. Understanding Wahdat al-Wujūd in the same way that the Pharisees and Jewish leaders misunderstood Christ's teachings. Some scholars, when they heard it explained, feared it erased the absolute distinction between creator and creation. They went so far as to reject it as blasphemy heresy, interpreting it as a form of pantheism or monism that is foreign to Islam. Yet to the Sufi masters, it was not at all claiming to be the one true God or a denial of the Creator's transcendence, but the unveiling of his constant immanence. The inner dimension of Tawheed that reveals that everything, every moment, every breath is sustained directly by Almighty God. Other traditions took the same truth in a different direction. The LDS, for instance, saw divine unity not as a shared reality under one God, but as a destiny to become separate gods in their own right, each ruling their own world. This shifts the axis away from the one sustaining all to a multiplicity of equal divine beings, a concept that's fundamentally at odds with the absolute oneness of God expressed in Wahdat al-Wujūd and Tawheed. In truth, there is no multiplying of gods. There is only the one in whose being we all depend on, move and have our existence. In the modern age, this ancient mystic truth finds a surprising parallel in the language of science and philosophy. The divine simulation theory proposes that our universe may be a kind of programmed reality, sustained, rendered and given meaning by a conscious programmer outside the system. In this view, what we call physical reality is contingent, dependent and without independent existence. This, in the metaphorical sense, mirrors the teaching of Wahdat al-Wujūd. All phenomena are signs, reflections and manifestations of the one reality that alone exists by himself. Across religions, cultures and centuries, the vocabulary changes, the metaphors shift, and the imagery adapts, but the truth itself does not. Wahdat al-Wujūd is not an invitation to dissolve God into creation, nor to raise creation to God's throne. It is not pantheism, nor polytheism, nor human apotheosis. It is the realization that there has always been only one, eternally distinct in his essence, yet intimately sustaining all that is. Everything else is shadow and reflection, flickering on the walls of the world, pointing back to the unchanging light that casts them.